Okay, so let's get into this. What I'm going to be doing today is attempting to build a study app for myself that is kind of tailored to my specific needs for a hobby that I have, which is playing poker. So I want to be able to record the sessions that I undertake when studying poker, the activities that I do during those sessions, and any things that I learn or takeaways from those specific sessions. The title of this stream is Bespoke Personal Productivity Software the Future? And what I'm kind of saying there is this particular app is going to be tailored to myself and what I need. And sure, other people could use poker study apps themselves, and maybe there are already poker study apps out there. I haven't found one that works nice for my needs, though. But I have this vision of an idea in my head, and I want to have an app and be able to use it. Now, luckily, I'm a senior engineer myself, and technically I could go and build that software from scratch. However, there is a lot of that would take a lot of my time, and it's more time that I want to put into, because what I really want to be doing is studying poker. So this is some free time, like activity time, that I want to be using to study poker, and I want this app to kind of help me with that. I don't really want to build the app. If there was one that was already built, I would probably use it, and I would probably pay some amount of money for it. But with the advent of these new app building tools where, you can kind of get them to generate apps for you from somewhat plain English input, it might be a case where I can get an app bootstrapped up to a point where it is sufficient to service my needs that I need, and or if there are bugs or things in there, I can dive into the code myself and fix them, or continue using the AI tools to fix those bugs. I have had a little bit of previous experience like trying to use these tools. Specifically, I have already built this app before somewhat, but I would like to start from scratch and have it recorded so that I can share it with people as well, and maybe iterate on that process, because there are a few other apps that I want to build, or that I feel like would help me in my personal productivity, and things that I might already have, like a spreadsheet to cover the functionality of, but that spreadsheet is very like manual entry, a lot of looking around for certain things, like entering data in multiple places. And I think an app could potentially service that, like the need that spreadsheet services in a better way. But today we're working on this poker study app, study session tracker or journal. And yeah, so the first thing we want to do is kind of get a somewhat of a product requirement document created. I'm going to use ChatGPT to create this document for myself. I'm going to enter some of the needs that I have for the app into ChatGPT, get it to build a product requirement document, tweak it, and then take that and put it into a app building AI tool. So let's start with defining who this is for and what problem it's solving for them. So I want to build a personal productivity app that will be used by poker players that want to study and get better at the game. The app will track the study sessions that the user undertakes and the activities within those sessions. Each session can consist of one or many activities. Activities can be watching a training video, reviewing played hands, reading an article, analyzing GTO solver solutions, discussing with others, or more. Each activity could have a URL attached. For example, the watching a video may have a YouTube video URL attached. A GTO solution may have a URL attached. Each activity, each session, and each activity can have 0 or more notes attached to them. Notes will be entered by the user and will contain specific learnings or observations from the study. Could you please create a product requirements document defining the above application? Okay, let's see what ChatGPT will output for us. Okay, let's have a read of what ChatGPT has created for us. Product requirements document. Product name, Poker Study Tracker. Overview. Poker Study Tracker is a personal productivity app designed for poker players seeking to systematically improve their game. The app will track study sessions and the activities within each session, allowing users to document, reflect on, and optimize their learning journey. Yes, exactly. That is correct. I'm kind of thinking that maybe in the future, the app could actually have a pre-built study syllabus, if you will, or like a course that other people could then just walk themselves through effectively. So what I will use it for is most likely ad hoc. I'm kind of like setting up my own prioritized list of activities that I want to do. So this will just be recording what I do. However, potentially in the future, people could have a template and just like apply that template and it would tell them what to do next. And they would log those sessions and document them. Target audience is amateur and professional poker players. Players preparing for major events. Players aiming to structure their study time efficiently and gain measurable improvement. That makes sense. The core features. Yep. Add one or many activities. These are the things that I've listed in my initial prompt. Looks good. Each activity can have the duration, specific. Yep. So one thing I also want to do is add labels, and it's already added them here, optional tags or labels to the notes. I wonder if we want to have labels on the activities as well. So like specifically, let's say I'm watching a video about one specific part of the game, for example, preflop, and I want to label that activity with that and then see all the activities that I have completed for that label, and then maybe see all of the notes for all of the activities that have that label. That is a potential thing I might want to do. Okay, anyway, that's fine. We can add that later. Note management. So we've got, 0 or more notes. We've got the text content, the date of the entry, and the labels. Search and filter. Yes, we would want to search and filter these things. It would not be a requirement for like the first iteration. I think just adding sessions, adding activities, and adding notes, it is the first kind of layer of what we would want to do. Yeah, eventually, as we've got like data flowing in, we'd want to have the dashboard and overview. I think it would be interesting to be able to get like a rating on yourself of like, say, at this point in time, this was my rating. I don't know where we get the rating. We could use some of the online poker training sites to get that like snapshot of your rating in one area or various areas. Would be interesting to see. Okay, anyway, there's a dashboard. Yeah, we need user accounts. So yes, even though this is just for myself, because it will be generic enough that other people could use it, I think having a login would be good. Data export, again, probably not an initial thing. I wouldn't include it initially. These are some ideas for future enhancements: making sessions public and sharing learnings with the community. Yes. Gamification. Yes. Integration with solver tools. That would be pretty cool. Automatically fetch activity data. Yeah, it would be cool if like when you put in a YouTube URL, it could like pull the title down and like set the title of the activity to be watch video X. Maybe a mobile app version. I think that wouldn't be a thing until we have plenty of people like using this. Cool. It's given us some user stories there. Non-functional requirements. Interesting. Security, yes. Performance, yes. Scalability, yes. Usability, clean and minimal, yes. Tech stack. So being a React.js developer or a engineer that uses React.js in their day job, I think it would make sense that that is the case. The backend's listed there: Postgres database, hosting, whatever, authentication, whatever there. The tool that I'm about to use will probably override a lot of those things. It has a timeline there and some KPIs for success. But yeah, because this is going to be just for me, we might not need to look into them too much. One thing I want to do is replace the name because I already have a name decided. Let's change the name of the product to GTO Journal. So GTO is game theory optimal for anyone who doesn't know what that is. And that is a way of looking at poker. Poker's a game, and poker has a game theory optimal way of being played. And you don't have to put game theory optimal like notes into this study tool, but this kind of is somewhat catchy and may appeal to the target audience. So let's get that updated. Cool. I think all it's really done is just updated the top section up here. And looks like it's done. I've updated the name to GTO Journal throughout the document. In creating initial wireframes, example user flows, or suggesting naming conventions. Interesting. I'm not sure if we can pass along wireframes. Let's see some initial wireframes, please. I'm not sure if we can take wireframes and, include them into the tool that we're going to use to build. Okay, we'll close the PRD for the moment and just have a look at what we see here. Okay, so these are wireframes in plain text. Interesting. That might be cool. We could paste those in and it would, maybe it would take that input. Would you like me to also now create quick sketch visual mock-ups of these? Let's see some sketch mock-ups. Just out of interest, I'm not sure if I will actually send these into the tool that we're going to use to build them. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, I don't know. Okay, it's created this mock-up, which is kind of interesting. Maybe we'll use that in the future. Okay, I'm going to take the PRD that we have generated up top and we'll copy it. And then we're going to go over to Chef by Convex and we'll paste. Okay, that copied the last message, not the PRD. Okay, so we need to expand the PRD, then copy it from here. Okay, then we'll paste that into the convex input. I guess we don't need to the would you like me to also draft part. Now, I think a lot of this info will get kind of ditched along the way. Chef will generally generate a initial version with a subset of the features that are input and then ask whether you want to add more or if you want to change something going forward. So let's hit go and see what we get out of here. We probably didn't need the timeline for MVP either, because as part of like generating this app, it shouldn't need any of that. Okay, so it's scaffolded a like baseline project and is starting to build it out with the initial requirements. We can click the preview button now because we have nothing in the app at the moment. We don't have any preview. While that's going, I'm just going to quickly duck out of the room and be back momentarily. Okay, I'm back. I'll turn the video on soon, but I'm just having lunch, so I'll keep the camera off while eating. I'll turn the mic off. We'll just let the chef continue to cook. All right, it is done creating the first iteration of the app. Now, as I mentioned, I've kind of done this already before and made a little mistake. and ended up having to delete the whole thing because I got into a scenario where the app would kind of just do a infinite loop, trying to build something, encountering an error, and then reloading. It says saving down the bottom here, so I'm kind of waiting for it to finish saving. I see that create session has a orange dot there. Nothing else has any other dots, so maybe we just need to click that button. So what I want to do is click the download code button to make sure I've got at least got a snapshot of the code at this point in time, where we have a login form. It says over here, the basic app structure is now set up. We've got login. We should be able to create study sessions and view the sessions in a real-time list. And we have a third tab up here called database, where we can actually look at the data that has been entered so far. There is no data right now. I still see this saving, so I kind of want to press this reload button. I think that saving is separate to this one here. I feel like it's already saved, so I'm going to click download and we'll save the file. So at least we've got everything in this current setup. So we'll go ahead now and create the first session and see how that works in our little preview app. And we have a list of the sessions here. It has the today's date automatically assigned there. And I suppose we can create a second session and it would be listed below. There's no way to edit sessions at the moment. No way to set the date. Say I wanted to track a session that I had yesterday. It's not currently possible. But right now we can sign in, sign out, and create sessions and add a description to those sessions. Not quite at the level that I wanted for an app to suit my needs. This saving here is a little worrying for me, so I'm kind of want to reload the whole page just to make sure that there isn't something weird going on there with that. Okay, so as you can see, refreshing the page, the saving's gone away. The preview app has restarted, reloaded, and the data that we entered before is still there. So the data is actually persisting for this preview app, which is kind of cool. And the login also persisted. Okay, we need some more functionality of this app before it can do what I need. So let's check here. It says, let's continue by adding activity tracking within sessions, notes with tags, search functionality, analytics dashboard. So the first two to me are like required for being able to use this app for my purposes. So let's put that in and get Chef to cook that for us. Seeing a error. I think it's maybe because it hadn't yet installed the dependencies that it wanted. Looks like it's doing that now. Okay, so we saw that an error was encountered along the way. It ended up installing the dependencies that it needed, so it just kind of tried to run the app before it had installed the dependencies. Added some schema info for the new data that we were wanting it to add, the activities. Then it hit a type check error. Here, argument of type user ID is not assignable to parameter of type never. There was some errors in the notes.ts file, which is interesting because we hadn't yet, or Chef hadn't yet implemented the notes. However, it did create a notes file, so it kind of preempted itself by creating that. So then it went and deleted the notes. We got a different error. String is not assignable to type ID sessions, session ID. And it went and made a fix to that, and we then got a successful build and pushed the code to the preview. Now, we have the preview on the right hand side. It does say there's a preview error here, but I kind of think that might have been due to the problem above. So we'll dismiss that, and if it comes up again, we can maybe get it to address that. How do we add activities to sessions? I guess we click on a session. We do. We can click on a session, and we have the description, the date. Then we've got the ability, a form to add an activity right here. So we can add a video, a hand review, an article, GTO, analysis, discussion, or other. And we have the optional URL, the duration. Let's just say 23 minutes for this one. We don't really have a title for that activity, but let's add it. Yeah, so we don't have a title, but we probably want to have a title for the activity. So it doesn't just say video. But we can add activities, and we can click back and go back to the list. That's pretty good. Okay. Would you like to add notes to activities next, or would you prefer to work on the search functionality or analytics dashboard? So I think out of those three options, we want the notes. However, I would like to have a title for the activity. So let's add an activity title to each activity. So great, now the activity title is optional for existing activities but required for new ones. You can add a title to each activity when creating it. See the title prominently displayed in the activity card. Let's have a look. So the existing activity is not there. This is the title. Okay, so we have the title there on each activity. It would be good if we could edit activities. Yeah, because you might kind of like just create a session, throw all of the activities that you plan on doing, and then execute the practice, and you may or may not get to an activity, and you could then shift it out or delete it or edit the activity. Maybe it's slightly different than you intended. So I feel like we want to have the ability to edit. Yeah, let's add the ability to edit sessions. So we'll start with editing sessions, and then we'll edit activities. Edit and or delete sessions. I just realized I should have downloaded the code before I triggered this, but let's hope that it doesn't completely fail and throw us back to 0. I've added the ability to edit and delete sessions. Now you can edit a session's title and description, delete a session and all its activities, get confirmation prompts, and see success and error. Okay, so here's edit and delete. New buttons added. Let's go back. We can't edit and delete from the list. So you have to specifically go in and then click edit. Okay, and then the title and the description edited. Save the changes. Now it says edited and edited. Good. We can't edit activities, of course. Let's go back. So there's no button to go back to the list of sessions, and this is not a button either. Let's add a third session. Third session. I'll just put test in there. And so now we have the third session, and we can go in here, click delete. Yep. And it takes us back to the beginning with that session gone. Little toast down the bottom, which you may not have seen because my webcam is hovering over top of it. Okay, cool. Now it's asking me again, do you want to add notes to activities or prefer to work on search? No, I want to add the ability to edit and or delete activities. Let's add the ability to edit and or delete sessions. Nope, not sessions, activities. Again, the iteration is so quick I keep forgetting I should probably go and download the code. Let's try and remember to do that. Okay, we've got edit and delete for activities. So let's go into the first session. I've got a couple of activities in there. Yep, we've got edit and delete buttons on each of the activities. So this one that I forgot to add, we didn't have the ability to add a title to at the time. We can click on there and we can put title filled in later. And save. There we go. We've got the title there. Cool. Okay, so what I would like now is the ability to go back to the list of sessions from the session detail screen. Interestingly enough, I don't think this is actually on a route, but we can click back and it will take us back. And we click forward, it goes forward. But in the URL, I'm just seeing /. So I'm not sure if that is what's going on there. So I want to link, let's add the ability to navigate back to the main sessions list from the session view. And if you want to see what it's doing, right, we can go here and then see what it's doing. The way that I understand how it works is it effectively rewrites the whole file. When it needs to do an edit to the file, it rewrites the whole file with the edit included. I don't know if it kind of may change the structure completely when it rewrites something, if it's just adding something small to the page. Okay, we've got the back button, so let's have a look. Preview, we go to a session, we have a back to sessions button right here, and that takes us back to the session list. That's nice. Personally, I would prefer if the create a session form and the create an activity form were in pop-up dialogues rather than embedded in the page. Let's add the ability to add notes to activities. Let's add notes to activities. Okay, I've added notes functionality to activities. You can add notes to any activity with content tags, view notes for each activity, clicking show notes, edit and delete notes. That's nice that it added the edit and delete as part of the initial feature rather than waiting for me to ask it for that. So, okay, let's preview. Let's go into this session. Okay, so we have an activity right here. Click show notes, and there's the ability to add a note inside the page, like embedded in the page. Note content 1, note 1, add the note. So there it is there with an edit and delete linky button. If we edit, it's filled in this form here and changed it to an update note 1. And let's just add second note and note 2. Add the note. Okay, we've got 2 notes. Let's click delete. It's asking for confirmation and it deletes the note. Nice, and then we have notes down here. Cool. Again, everything kind of embedded in the one screen. What I would like to do now is if the activity is video and the URL is a YouTube URL, I would like it to actually render the embedded view, like render the video as an embed inside the page. Because then, like, if you set up a session and you've got maybe 3 videos you want to watch, they'll be right there. You just hit play inside the page. So I'm going to go grab a video, copy this link. We'll put it here, and the title of this video is Small Blind 3-Bet Strategies Explained. That's mostly the title of it. And the duration is actually 5 minutes. It would be cool if we could like interpret or pull in the title, the duration directly from the URL. Anyway, save. Okay, so we've got a view resource link, which my guess is gonna, it takes us to the link that we input. So let's say to chef, for activities, if the type is video and the URL is a YouTube URL, then let's embed the video inside the activity card so we can watch the video directly from there. Let's see if it can do that. Okay, it says I'll add YouTube video embedding for activities with YouTube URLs. First, let's add a helper function to extract YouTube video IDs and then update the activity card component. Preview error. Requested module doesn't provide an export name session view. Okay, I think again that was just a TypeScript error occurred and it tried to load the preview but it couldn't, so it needs to fix those errors. Let's go over to the code so we can see what it's doing. Yeah, so in order to fix the TypeScript errors, it's effectively regenerating the whole file again. Let's dismiss this error. Oh, it's rewriting the file again. Hold on, what did it say? Okay, so we still got some TypeScript errors in this file, even though it's replacing everything with just, I don't know if this is actually what comes out at the end. Hopefully that's not what it is. Luckily enough, this isn't the infinite loop of generating an error, trying to fix it that I encountered previously. This is some other problem that's occurred. Maybe it's an error that needs multiple passes to fix, or fixing one error created another. Okay, we're almost there. We're going to get a pass. No, we still have an error. Found one error in session view. Hopefully it's able to just fix one of it. Let's dismiss this. The chat stopped because of repeated errors. You can send a message to try again, give more information, or fix the problem yourself. Okay, so I think it was trying to say like, don't change these things, but I see them being changed. So maybe I can tell it that. It appears that there are comments stating to keep certain things unchanged, but I think those things were replaced by the comments. I guess it's only because I know about know that these are comments that don't actually do anything. Someone who was not, has not done any coding before may not know that those are comments, but it does say, you're right, let me provide the complete file with the components properly included. Let's hopefully see what we see here. Let's hopefully see that it then passes the TypeScript. And this may be the last feature that we do for today's session. I would still like to move all of the create and edit functionalities into either separate screens altogether or modal dialog pop-ups, just because I think that keeps the interface cleaner when you're not looking to add or edit anything. Okay, we've got it working apparently. Let's go over to preview. Reload the page. Okay. We'll go into our first session where we know we already have a video activity with a YouTube URL attached, and we get an error. Object is missing the required field ID, considering the field validator. Let's see. We're going to have to say, let's ask Chef about this one, because I think that's something that it should know about. should hopefully be able to fix itself. Hopefully it doesn't completely delete the session component like it was doing before. So it does appear like it removed the activity card component. Could not find activity, add activity. So it looks like it removed the add activity and add activity card components from the view for some reason. I see we need them missing. Yeah, I don't know how those things just go missing all of a sudden. I wonder if extracting stuff out into separate files will make it easier for the AI to not make these kinds of errors. Okay, so it's saying it's fixed things. Let's go over to preview. Okay, we're back here. It was when we clicked on the session where the error occurred. And now we have blank screen. It says the app should now work correctly when viewing sessions. Would you like to add? No. So we want to make sure that it actually works first. So I kind of don't want to tell it to fix this because it feels like I'm really just like chewing through all of the credits that I have. Maybe at the end of this, I'll check the credits and see how much we used throughout this session. When loading the session view, I'm seeing a blank screen. Let's see if it can fix this. Okay, that did seem to fix the problem with the routing, apparently. Looks like that's working. And it's complaining here because I've embedded a URL that I suppose it's from a different URL that it's expecting. Okay, we got another error. Add activity is not defined. I forgot to download the working code when we had it working just before the adding YouTube embedding, which again was a crucial mistake. And it would be great if it could keep like history. It may actually do that, so I don't need to download the code or anything like that. And it would be good if it kept like a Git history of the changes as we made them. But I suppose like you might want to actually make 3 or 4 prompts before saying, okay, that is a block of changes that is correct and done. Okay, we're got the page loading again. Still some changes are happening here. TypeScript. Okay, page is gone again. Okay, these were happening before. Hopefully it's able to fix them. I would like to get, okay, so it kept getting repeated errors. Let's go into the code. I think it said in app is authenticated was a problem. Two errors in the same file. Source app. Well, it doesn't have an implicit any type. It appears to be fixed right here. And it says is authenticated ... sign in form is authenticated. I mean, yeah, that looks all correct to me. Element is not assignable to type React node. Kind of, okay, it does say that it actually fixed it there. Chat stopped because of repeated errors. Session view. let's hit save and see what. Right now I kind of want to like inspect this to see if we're getting errors in the console. So we'll go down here. Functions are not valid as a React child. This may happen if you return children instead of children from render, or maybe you meant to call this function rather than return it. Authenticated children. That kind of looks like the code that we were trying. So I think we might need to look at the authenticated, the docs for the authenticated app component from Convex. So let's go to convex.dev. Try and find the documentation. Search for authenticated component. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Interesting. And I can't go back from here. That's weird. Okay, let's double check. The code says Convex React. And then we'll look at the docs. Client libraries, React. Let's see if ChatGPT can help us for this one. Let's make a new chat. Can you help me understand how to use this? Okay, so authenticated, and there's a fallback, which would be the false side, right? Okay, let's see if that actually happens. So sign in form is going to be the fallback. Otherwise, we're just going to render this, all of this. Okay. Redeploy. I mean, that should be dedented a bit. Like that. Save. Let's see if this fixes things. Fallback does not exist on intrinsic attributes. So it's rewriting it back the way that it's saying like there's a way to get authenticated from here. Can you link me to the source code? Okay, so there is no fallback for this. It just renders null if the auth is loading or okay, so we have unauthenticated, which is the opposite, which kind of makes sense. Unauthenticated, which is the way that we handle the sign-in form. Put the sign-in form inside that. There. Get rid of this. Get rid of those. Get that there. Get rid of that and that. Fix the indentation. There. So that was quite difficult because the code, the AI was just inventing this, I guess, this way of using the authenticated component that where it could access the is authenticated. That was not actually a thing. Maybe there's a different router out in the world that does support that. Okay, let's try again. Redeploy. Okay, it looks like TypeScript passed that time and the app has deployed. Let's check the preview. Okay, so the styles have changed quite a bit since we last saw. Like this was centered previously. The create session form is gone. Let's go in here. Okay, we can do all of that. These cards look different. It's like almost we installed a different library to do some things. The embed still has this problem, which is probably just a Firefox issue where it's being more secure, not letting you embed things directly in there. Okay, so let's see if we can get the create form back. The styling and the create session form are now missing from the your sessions page. Oh, I forgot again to download the code. We had what appeared to be a working app. Hopefully it doesn't completely die again when it's fixing this. Okay, that looks like it's fixed. And create session is now a button. Please don't fail, TypeScript. Cool. Create session is now a button. Also, this button's blue is different to that button blue. Okay, let's have a look at a session. Cool, these are starting to look nice. That button is the same as before. Cool, cool, cool. Create a session. Okay, it embeds it in there. That is like a little bit more to my liking. I guess we don't need to ask for the modal version if we're going to have this equivalent. Add an activity does an embedded view as well. That's kind of good. Yeah, unfortunately this is not working. We'll try it in a different browser to see if it is specifically related to this, but won't do that now. I think we're at a good stopping point. We'll come back later and look to add some additional functionality, such as when we add an activity that is of the type GTO analysis and we put a URL in here, we should be able to glean some of the context of the specific spot that we're analyzing, whether it's a pre-flop spot or a post-flop spot, which players are in the hand, so on and so forth. We should be able to do that. Yeah, and other things like article, that'll have a URL, maybe discussion, maybe there would be like who was in the discussion. We could add those kind of features. Yeah, but otherwise we can wait. Where's the notes gone? We edit this. We don't have any note functionality either. Okay, this time finally remembered. We're going to download the code. Let's just check the code. There's no little dot next to any of these files, meaning they are what do you call it? They would be changed. So we've saved everything there. Yeah, the notes. So what I want to do, I was going to finish up, but now I'm starting to think, in order to like make it less of a problem going forward with when it edits files, things going missing, let's extract all components to a separate file each. Every component should live in its just checking that things work still. It appears so. Kind of curious as to whether it actually, because I still see the session list and session view in the top level, but then they also exist here, and I'm interested whether they're actually used. I'm going to click save on all of these things. Save, 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 because I don't quite know if they were saved or not. So in the app, it renders session list from component session list and session view from component session view. I believe these ones are no longer used, so we can delete them. And then in session view, it should use activity card and add activity from the same folder. Cool. So I'm going to delete these ones. Okay, hopefully that's in a bit better state. We'll save the code. We are missing the notes functionality, so I think we should ask for that back. We are now missing the notes functionality from the activities that we had before. Remember to put components into their own files. Hopefully we don't have to keep telling it that, and that it can remember from the past. Once we get the note functionality back and we're at that parity of the features that we had previously, we will stop there for today. Okay, cool. So let's reload the page. Let's go into our session. We've got the show notes at the top. Yeah, potentially in the future, I'll change the name of this to like view notes or just notes or something like that. But yeah, as we can see, we can click show notes. It displays it underneath here. And then we can add a note. Yep. Yep. Looks good. And it looks like edit and delete are working as well. And we can hide the notes. That's pretty good. Yeah, maybe some other just like quality of life things. Maybe you should be able to have a button up here so you can just add a note immediately, or just don't have them hidden, and yeah, maybe have another page where we can see the notes. I'm not sure. This is where a UX and UI designer would be ideal, whereas I'm not any of those. Okay, so this is all working. Again, I'm going to download the code to make sure that I don't lose it. There is one thing that I wanted to change just before we signed off. Oh yes, it's not something I wanted to change. It's something I wanted to note. Okay, so we're basically at a closing point for the episode, and I wanted to note that with Chef, you purchase a Convex account and you get Chef like built into it with X amount of tokens available for you. You get 500,000 included tokens when you pay for Convex per month. And in that session today that we executed, we used about 370,000 tokens. So that is almost a month's worth of tokens used in that, what has it been, like a 2-hour time period or just under. Let's have a quick look here. Yeah, hour and 45. Now, not all of it was actual usage of the tokens. A lot of it was waiting while it was generating. So maybe we could say it was an hour of actual like interactive attempting to vibe code. We did encounter that error where we kept getting in a loop where it was giving us the wrong structure of the authenticated in-app it was giving us the wrong structure for this every time it generated, and then it would fix the TypeScript error for it, or thought it was fixing it but still got an error. So we had to look up the code manually, look up the documentation manually, and then look into the actual code of Convex's authenticated functionality. And this is, you use auth loading to display something for loading as well. Something to learn there to get around that error. So maybe we spent a few tokens like pushing on that when we should have kind of pulled the ejector button for that moment and gone and fixed it manually a bit earlier. Other than that, I think that is a good spot to end off for the moment. And really, I could go and actually use the tool in its current format for recording information about my study sessions. Some things that potentially we could come back to are like the description. This is a text area, a native like browser text area box. The notes, like we don't have a description for the activity. That might be something to add. And the notes also are a plain text area box. And really, I think I would like to be able to kind of add some formatted text in here. Like if I want to take a note and use a numbered list, or like an ordered list or unordered list, and a few other things to kind of have a bit more rich text formatting. And that might be the thing that we do next. And yeah, we might need to have like the number of sessions limited here. And then have like a all sessions or something to that effect. Potentially having like a 2-pane view where you've got your sessions list on the left, you click on the session, and then the activity like session details displays on the right. That's another way of displaying things that could work. Again, none of these UI changes are really stopping me from using this right now. And technically, even the embedding doesn't have to work because you can just click the link and open the video in a separate tab. Okay, so that was Vibe Coding a Poker Study app, episode 1. And hopefully you're starting to see what I think I'm trying to explain with this bespoke personal productivity software. We were able to get up and running something effectively that was maybe more than an MVP of this tool that I want for myself. And we got it up and running in just under 2 hours. And a bit of that was waiting, as I said. Now we can click this deploy button, which would actually deploy it to a test environment. So this preview environment is like a local dev environment. It will go away as soon as we close this window, or I think after some period of time. But if we deploy it, then we'll actually be able to use it going forward. I would probably get rid of the sign in anonymously functionality if we were not in preview mode, because we would want people to actually sign up if they were going to use it. Anyway, I'll catch you all later.